Hello. I guess this is live streaming now. It's been a while. Let me see if this refreshes. Let me get the link. It looks like it's not sharing the link, anyways. How are you? Oh, okay, here we go. Share. And then post. All right, let's go. This is RIG2U5 with the new updates, and we have news in regards of the new Blender 4.4 update. As you can see right here, this is where we're going to work. We're going to start from scratch using RIG2U5. Now, there have been a little bit of updates here and there, so I'll try to go along with the entire process of creating the rig. So first of all, my model has a big size in relation to the scene. My scene scale is 0.0.1, but you don't have to worry about that because when you create your first template, the scene will automatically scale to it. Since you already know Synthia Wave right here, hey Hot Sauce, thank you for coming. Yes, I can send the character to U5 Unreal Engine. I wasn't planning to do that, but if you ask, sure enough, I can send it. Now that's the entire purpose because this character is going to also have a facial rig, which I have not done in my previous presentation. So this was our beta testing model. And right now we're going to do that. We're going to send this model, although the shaders are not recreated in Unreal Engine. So therefore, I'm just going to send it as it is. Of course, I need to rebuild the shaders in Unreal Engine, which should be another entirely different live stream some other time. Right now, we're going to cover all of the RIG2U5 updates. And as you can see, this is Blender 4.4 release candidate. And this is RIG2U5. The newest version includes this little button that loads an existing previously created RIG2U5 rig. This is important because if you have previously rigged from Blender 4.3, you can now import your character. It's going to target directly your previously rigged to U5 rig, and then it will bring everything into this new scene in Blender 4.4. Or alternatively, you can open the scene directly in Blender 4.4, and that should be all good. But this is just in case the user needs to previously load and finish an unfinished rig to U5 rig. Okay, so enough talk. Let's get started. So after reading the guidelines, we're also going to get here an update. Whenever you have an entire rig created, you're going to get the version of that rig. That's important because we wanted to understand which version you came from, and therefore it will be read and displayed in the guidelines. So let's close this, and now we have the templates. We can choose any of these templates, and of course the most common one, the one that we are going to be using, is the U5 rest pose, Unreal Engine rest pose. So therefore I'm going to just click here and it will create it. Of course it's going to ask me if I want a face rig and if I want to set up the scene, and I will click on OK. As you can see, most of my character has been already fitted for this rig, so we need little adjustments. I'm doing this because, of course, I'm going to be live streaming. It's convenient to do this as fast as we can. So here, let's switch this off so that we can have her face and we can arrange this. Now, the first thing that I want you to notice is that the model itself needs to be set in 0 location, 0 rotation, and 1 in scale. Okay, this is important. So all of your objects' origins are going to be in the origin of the world. That's super important. So whether it be face, whether it be eyes, the only exception for that rule should be the teeth. So as you can see, the teeth have their own rotation and their own, place in the world. As a matter of fact, let me just, this is Oh, that's right. This is Blender Vanilla. So object transform, or rather set origin to geometry. So therefore, we are going to have that origin right there. That's important because you're going to get double transformations. This is the only thing I've found that needs to be here. Otherwise, set origin to geometry. Otherwise, it's going to fly around. It's going to fly everywhere. The same thing goes for the tongue. So set origin to geometry. And now this origin is set there. As a matter of fact, I think the eyes also need to have their origin in their own axis. Well, we'll find out about that later when we're rigging. All right, so the shoulders, the elbows, everything, every piece should be straight zeros and just scale 1. All right. From there, you can see that the RIG2U5 folder or collection has been created. So let's select that, go into edit mode, and we're going to adjust this as best as we can. We're also going to add, in this session, we're also going to add new bones, specifically the eye bones, because we want to control the pupil and other facial features. As of today, in Unreal Engine 5, there has been an update, a hotfix rather, that supposedly fixed the problems with the modular control foot rig. But that was not possible. I just tested it and it doesn't show, and it wasn't fixed. So and even worse, it got worse. The situation with the foot rig in Unreal Engine as the modular control rig got worse. Yeah. Again, if you submit bug reports, the Unreal Engine team is surely reading them, and it's surely paying attention to what we need to fix those kind of issues. So please submit your own bug report, because they are looking at every bug report users are sending. That is a great thing that they have done. They do pay attention to that, and I have sent around 3 or 4 bug reports from the previous 5.5.3. Sorry, that's a mouthful. And yeah, some of the things I sent were fixed. However, we are super interested in the fix for the modular foot controls, which right now, anytime that you create the leg modular control, the foot automatically destroys the hierarchy. And I am studying how to correctly create a control, the regular control rig in Unreal Engine, because I 200% can assure you that it works. The control rig, the normal control rig, works with RIG2U5. It's just that, again, it's a very long process. You have to be very patient with that. It's not complex, but it's long. I would not say that it's tedious, because I see how it works, and I understand the logic for the nodes. So I'll look forward to creating a video to show you how you can create your control rig once you generate your rig from RIG2U5. In addition, create your rig in Blender, send it to Unreal, and let's rig it with the real control rig. Not the modular, but the real control rig. Now, I want to say something about the modular control rig. When you are working in Unreal Engine, this specific bone that you have right here, which is the neck bone, if it's like this, it's bent like this, Unreal will try to straighten it. So what Unreal will do is to make your head, tilt almost 5 degrees up. Therefore, the fix to that is grab this and try to make this neck bone as straight as you can. I'm not saying that you should straighten it up, but something like this will be workable, and the head will not bend. I have been rigging around, I can say, 10 different versions since we started RIG2U5. And I can tell you that there are some things that I have understood how Unreal Engine expects to read them from your rig, in this case, from the RIG2U5 rig. And I will be telling you about them as we go along with this rigging session, which, as you can see, it's super easy. It's like any other Rigify rigging session. It's not hard, but there are some caveats here and there. For example, I need to rotate this bone. And in order for me to do that, I'm going to press N, and in the Item tab, I'm going to come here into the roll. I'm going to align to the view that corresponds to the roll of that bone. I'll roll it just a little bit. So it's like 30. 30 degrees seems to be the angle in which this bone will roll. I'll select this one, and lastly, this one with Shift left click, and then Shift N, and then it will recalculate the roll to the active bone. That is the last selected bone. The last selected bone had the roll of 30, so now this one has an approximate roll for that, and as well with this other one. So we have that thumb. And another thing I like to do this faster is to switch to the normal orientations for the transforms. And what that will help me do, or what that will help me accomplish, is to select all of the bones in their own normal pointing areas. Right now, let me just select them all, because we need to resize them. Synthia has very short hands. Again, this is a case for orienting the bone itself. You should select all of your bones, as I'm doing here with the lasso tool. This is super important, because if you so much disconnect one, the rig will not generate. Now you have to understand that we used Rigify as the starting base point for most of the Blender users, because that is a common tool. However, we are considering in creating a custom rig. We're still considering some major points here and there. That's not something that it's going to be happening anytime soon, because we know that RIG2U5 works, and works amazingly good for the things that you need to create. And all of the animations, the baking processes, and all of that are great in Blender 4.3. However, in Blender 4.4, as one would expect, things change. And because things change, specifically the multi-track Animate thing, the developers have created some additional lines to manage how multiple objects are going to be considered in the NLA tracks in regards to animation. And of course, we sent our bug report on Monday, and the Blender developers replied pretty quickly. And now the implementation is already here in Blender 4.4 daily as of today, Thursday, March 13th. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to test, first of all, the U5 rest pose, and then later we're going to create a basic idle animation. So this is the entire process here in the live stream. Hi, Nikki Chan. Yes, I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking. Last week was terrible. I had some fevers and stuff. You know, season changes and stuff. Yeah, so this is a normal positions for the bones. So then you will think, okay, those fingers look really crooked. I don't think they're going to work when they need to bend. And you're totally right. I'm doing this on purpose so that you can see how I usually do my workflow. So you can see this ring finger is middle finger, sorry, is super crooked. It's twisted. It's not working as one would expect. Very aligned, very streamed. So what are we going to do? First of all, we want to have all of these bones in the same row. Since I selected this one and this one is the last one, I'm going to be aligning with Shift N and recalculating the roll for all of them. And as you can see, now that they have all the same rolls, you can see there's a red line right here which represents the X. So I'm going to press SX0, enter. SX0 and enter. And what did I get with that? The result of that is that all of the finger bones are straightened up. Hi, Buzzy Muzzy. Thank you for coming. We're live streaming to create this RIG2U5 Synthia wave in Blender 4.4 experimental, or rather release candy, I think it was this morning, release candy, Blender 4.4, with the new version of RIG2U5, which includes now opening a previously created RIG2U5 rig. And that's important because if you have two different scenes, of course, you wouldn't have the opportunity to just open it. The only way to create the rig was actually creating the rig from scratch. So that's been added in this new version for RIG2U5, and we're also going to SX0. Okay, it's I see what's going on now. It's the finger position of Synthia that has been modeled in this way, and therefore it looks kind of bent. Anyway, so I'll try to make it work as it is. Hopefully it will work. As a matter of fact, let me just roll this just a tad over here. And now I'm going to select 1, 2, 3, and this one is the last one. Shift N. Okay, I guess that works. Recalculate the roll. See how useful it is to have it as a normal orientation right here, the normal transform orientation, so I can always pull the Z-axis, which is up, for the bones. All right, so, and of course, Y, it's forward. You let go, and then it will recalculate the roll. I'm sorry, the orientation again. You use ARP, yeah. ARP and other add-ons are available for exporting to video games. I've tried most of them, and so we thought, it's time to put our own solution out there, because most of those add-ons, of course, are for advanced users, and we thought maybe we need something much simpler, something that could use the Rigify native system in order for the user to create their rigs. In the future, since we are 2025, and I predict this not as a magician or anything, I'm reading the news all over the place. In a not so far future, we will be able to generate rigs, really nice rigs with AI. Hopefully those things will come in Blender. I don't know if you saw last year's conference. That's one of the goals for animation in Blender. And since now Flow just won an Oscar, we are surely going to get some AI help for rigging. Imagine how would that be? That would be amazing. Now, considering Unreal Engine, they also have, native tools that can help you rig. I have not touched any of those yet because Unreal Engine, at least for me, tends to crash a lot. I am super demanding with any software I use, and therefore, every time I create new shaders, new setups, new things, it always crashes on me. So that's why I have not been pushing out more stylized videos, because I consider that Unreal Engine is super unstable in regards of shaders, stylized shaders. Don't get me wrong. It's everything anyone would want for a game rigging engine considering PBR, realistic materials and all of that. It's great. It's fantastic. It's out of the box, ready to use. But that's not the case for stylized shading, since we need to move a lot of parameters here and there. Okay, so now I have my bones, again, aligned in the same role. So SX0, enter. And you can see how they got straightened up. That's amazing. We're almost done. This and the face are the only parts that, you should consider taking your time to do them right. Once you do them right the first time, you don't need to worry about much refining later on in the process, because it's pretty straightforward. But what I do want to say is that if you do this process, you're gaining experience, and also you're gaining more controls over what you want to send in Unreal. I also mentioned at the beginning of this session that I will be rigging extra bones. Specifically, I'm going to be creating an extra bone for cameras. And while I'm doing this, because I don't want you to bore you to death with this process of rigging, while I'm doing this, I'm going to share something with you. You have seen how ZZZ, Zenless Zone 0, characters, at the characters selection screen, they kind of like move around the camera, right? Like you go to select, I think they have this like music option and stuff in their menu. And once you select your skills, your character moves around the camera. And you can see the character from the top down, from the left side, from the bottom up. And yes, you can do and animate a camera, in Unreal Engine. However, if you want to have direct control, you can create an extra bone here in RIG2U5 and use it as part of your camera orientation, so that when you go to Unreal Engine, you only have to match the focus and the POV and the FOV of the camera, and it will instantly mimic whatever animation you had here. And the important thing is that you can plan your animations here in Blender. And when you import them back into Unreal Engine, that extra bone from this rig will read the camera. If you don't attach a camera, because of course, if you're going to create an animation montage, you can create a socket for that bone, which of course will inherit or will catch the camera in Unreal Engine. So yeah, create the bone, create the socket, attach the camera. That's the process. And you can have control of that process from Blender in regards of where you're going to place your bones, how the bones are going to be moved, and even special camera, or in this case bone animation for that camera. So yeah, we were talking about ARP and the other add-ons. I have experience with Unity and Unreal Engine for more than 10 years. So yeah, I wanted something that could be really easy with the users. I didn't want to create extra complicated things. And when Fingerboy and I got to meet, we thought, hey, why don't we make this as simple as possible? We need something that users, or in this case artists, feel at ease by creating something that they already know. So we focused our efforts in Rigify, because Rigify is also compatible with Faceit, which is another very well-known add-on in the Blender community. And they have this option where you can integrate the setup that you can create in Faceit with Rigify rigs. And I thought, okay, that's amazing, because if we can, have a Faceit setup, which in this stream I will not do it, but I can do it certainly in another time. If we can have a setup with Faceit and all of the features that Faceit offers, then we can make this add-on work even better. face it, there are other VRM facial capture add-ons. I mean, there's a plethora of add-ons that work with Rigify. So that's why we wanted to come here into the development process using Rigify. I have offered in the past creating courses for specifically addressing game engine, exports, specifically Unreal Engine, because that's the one that we're focusing mainly right now, in regards of RIG2U5. But it's uncertain because at this moment I'm considering switching offices. I'm going to move from my current office position, location, if I can say it like that. My current office location, I'll be moving, and I'm looking for a new workspace. So yeah, that's going on in the background, but I'm keeping an eye on everything that has to do with RIG2U5. And if you read the video description, you will find the link to the Discord community where we are working actively to reply to any of your questions about RIG2U5. In regards of the updates, we also made it possible that now you have eye controls. Because our previous rig only had like one single bone, and you couldn't control the pupil. And it's super important for facial performances that you can control the pupil. Another thing we were working in the past month was on how to add an extra bone here in the RIG2U5 rig without actually breaking the model at the time of creating the Rigify controls. And I want to tell you something. It happens so that Rigify natively has the eyelid control hard-coded on this bone, lid TL002. This is the bone that controls, or that natively hard-coded, however you want to call that, natively has the control for blinking. And therefore you can understand that the position of this bone is really crucial for how you do your blinking. Now, a lot of people have told me, Mr. Schiller, I don't know how to make the perfect blinks. Every time I have to work with Rigify, I always end up doing blend shapes because there's no way to create a perfect blink. Well, my dear artist, the answer to that is yes, you can create a perfect blink. And I want to show you how. Not in this session, though. I will make a short YouTube video, shorts, to show you where to exactly put the bones that you need to put in the eye so that you can have perfect blinks. Right now, I don't think I'm going to get a perfect blink because I don't want to break this model. I want to do this as vanilla as I can from Blender 4.4, which of course adds a plethora of errors on any upgrade on any version, and hopefully the developers, if they watch this, are going to be aware later on. Right now, we have not encountered any Rigify errors, and I hope surely not to find one. But yeah. Another extra tip I want to give you is that if you're working like this, it's kind of complex to see everything. So what I do generally is to come here into the data and viewport displays, switch it to stick. That way it's much easier for me to see where I'm going to be placing all of my controls. You are also watching that I always lasso whatever thing I do. Okay, so that's done with control and right click. I lasso everything because it's important that the bones move together. If the bones separate, Rigify will break. This is a native rig function from Rigify. Because as I mentioned before, it's hard-coded. So there are some things that, you need to do as they intend. Otherwise, the rig breaks. And in that case, you always need to move all of the bones together. A second thing I want to mention about the new updates is that we were previously working with the upgraded facial version of Rigify. In RIG2U5, in Blender 4.3, we were working with the upgraded face. However, in this new version, we're working with the old Rigify facial rig. And why is this? The new facial upgrade has B bones, bendy bones, spline bones. And basically, splines do not get transformations such as rotations and scale. That was a problem. That was a hard problem that we had to overcome by going back to the legacy mode. So this is the one that it's going to blink. Let's keep that in mind. Let's keep that in perspective, because the blinking controller will appear right here between the 01 and 02 right here. This is one of the tips. I'm going to go to front view and then grab this and try to place it where I want the control for the lid blinking. This is a red control which will control this level and this level. Super important. And down here, it's the second one that you need to pay attention to. So grab this one and bring it over here. And it is much better if you grab those two and then press SXX0, enter. That way they will align themselves, as you can see right here, one on top of the other. You can go to the side view, and you can still see that they are one on top of the other. This also helps the harmony in the eye when you're blinking. So the controllers are one on top of the other. The same thing goes for this bone right here and this bone over here. You can see these two bones are also going to blink in the closest, SXX0, enter. In the closest area once the eye shuts down. So that's that. And also, let's not forget, we have this over here and we have this over here. And yeah, I guess the internal bone for that might just go a little bit outwards. Let's see on solid view for better reference. Maybe over here. And this one also GYY. Go forward. Okay, yeah, that looks like an approximate good blinking. That's another thing. You need to calculate that the top bones are further away from the eye than the bottom bones. The bottom bones are going to be coveted or covered by this movement right here. So I'm going to grab this savagely and then bring them down. You need to consider that they at least are further away from your lower lid bones, like this. This is a good position to blink. Now the second thing I want you to consider is this. They call it the eyelid, or rather the actual lid fold of the eye, and I like to place this a little bit away from the other bones so that the weights will not collide. This one will naturally bend this fold. And this fold over here is going to respect the rest of the forehead weights against the eyelashes. So that's why it is also important that you place this in a position that represents the limit from the forehead to the eye fold. Something like that. In Animate, you see that the eye fold is actually all the way up here. As a matter of fact, let me just correct my eyelashes. Another extra tip is that you don't put this above the I forget the names of the muscles for the eyes, for the eyebrows. You don't put them above. Like I see a lot of users going like this. No, you need to put this right there in the middle of the eyebrow. That's how you use that. I also see that a lot of users put, the bones all the way up here to the top of the forehead. No, you don't do that. This is just to control how much it's going to bend around the eyelash. I'm sorry, the forehead and the eyebrow. So you need to imagine that what you really want to do here is to put the controls, or rather the bones, as a big eyebrow influence for the eyebrow, but not for the forehead. So don't worry about all of this, because we're going to assign all of these weights to the head. That's an extra step that we have to do. Now, why do we have why do we have an advantage doing this? What's the advantage of doing this process? The advantage is that whatever animation you have with RIG2U5 in regards of this rig, you can also copy it and apply it or append it into another Rigify-to-U5 character that you have using the facial rig. Therefore, only you animate the face only once, and then you can copy that animation for anything. Don't tell me that's not an advantage. That's great. Like, you only have to create dialogues for one face and propagate whatever actions or whatever animation that face has to any other character that you have rigged with RIG2U5, or in this case, with the Rigify facial rig. I've been using Rigify for around 5 years now. No, wait, that's 2018? Oh, 7 years. Gosh, time flies. Okay, so now we need to move the mouth. So I'm going to lasso this very carefully, lasso this, and lasso this and this. So let's go to the front view. So the mouth is approximately here. Now, another thing I usually do is to set up the teeth. This is another thing that we made. You can see it says def T. That's the top. And this other one right here says teeth T. This is because we added the teeth as a deformer bone. So for our Rigify-to-U5 rig, just grab both of them at the same time so you can move them and scale them at the same time. So I'm going to place this right here. This is the position I want for those two teeth. I'm going to grab all of these lower teeth as well and bring them over here, since that's where my other teeth are. And you can see this is the tongue, so I'm going to grab all of that, Ctrl L to select everything that is linked to that setup, and put this over here and bring this bone over here, super far away from the tongue, because sometimes if you leave it at the edge, you will not see the controller, and it's a much needed controller for the tongue. You can see it right there. Place it on top. Don't place it right here, because it's kind of difficult to grab later on. Yeah, that's what I usually do. Maybe right there. It's okay. So let's continue and finish with this lips. I also mentioned at the beginning of this session that I will be doing extra bones. So one will go for the camera and another one will go, I guess, for I had another thing that I wanted to rig. I forget which one it was. Oh well, I'll remember later on. Yeah. So in regards of sending things into Unreal Engine as of today, because today there was a hotfix for Unreal Engine 5.5.4, supposedly they fixed the modular foot control rig, but that was not possible. I tested it, and at any case, it got worse. It totally broke the modular foot control for the modular control rigs. So that's on Unreal Engine side. not a problem that our add-on has. This is another important part of this session. Please pay attention. So we have two eye bones that we need to pay close attention to. The first one is called def eye, and the second one it's called eye, and this third one is called def iris L. So all of those are aligned, as you can see right there. And what we want to do is to identify the eye control. The eye control is the one that it's going to draw the, what's it called? The viewer control. The visor control, sorry. When you generate the rig, it creates the visor control. You know, the control that moves the eye. So I'm going to select it right now. And as you can see, it's this long bone, IL. Def IL is the actual eye, the one that we're going to align to our eye, so that way we can use it to deform the eye itself. And later, we also need to align this other one, which is called def iris L. This is going to make, the pupil contract or expand. So what I'm going to do is to select all of these guys and bring them over here to the middle of the eye. My eye right here, I can see it. This is my eye. If I press 1, I can see it's on the front view right there. And that is mostly good. However, if I generate the rig right now, the visor is going to appear very dislocated. It's going to appear really crazy. So what I want to do now that this is aligned is to grab this IL bone again and try to rotate it so that it will look forward. So that way, when we generate our rig, the visor controller will totally look forward. Forward. That's what we want. So it's there. I think it's too far out. Let me just oh yeah, that's a good idea. SXX0, and that's it. Okay, so we have that. And now I want to grab this bone right here, which is the def IL. Use the translation, and if you remember, we set it up into normal. So now if we move forward in the green axis, which is the Y, I'll just grab GY and it's going to bring me forward. That's awesome. GY, and let's go back. It's constrained. This is what we want. And where do we put this exactly at? Well, I will suggest that the origin of that bone should be somewhere just a little bit behind of the eye, like right there. Okay, because this is where the controller is going to originate to, move forward. So that's good enough. And the same thing goes for the pupil. So I'm going to move this forward, GY. I'm going to move it forward because my intention is that I can touch this without touching the actual eye control. My intention is that this def iris L will allow me to scale the eye without any interference from the previous bones. And my intention with this bone is also that I can direct it so that it will follow the visor controller, so I can scale that later on. So I guess just a little bit, I'm going to move this like such. Okay, so it's there. Please also make sure that you always work in symmetry mode right there. Okay, this is important because whatever thing you do on the left side, it's going to be reflected on the right side. Last but not least, the nose. The nose is pretty thin, as you may already know from any anime character, and this is important because it creates the bridge of the nose, which is an important control for how far your eyebrows are going to be, protruding, or rather encountering, bending, if you want to call it that way. So yeah, that's important. Okay, this is the temporal bone, which also needs to be placed in the correct area. This is a jawbone. I'm going to put it right there. And this is like around there. This is supposedly right there. Okay, what am I taking as a reference? This all of the bones right here. Okay, I'm going to lasso them so you can see them. This is important because when you are happy, this cheekbone will raise and it needs to be aligned with, you know, the pupils themselves. So that's what I'm taking as reference in order for me to align this. And the temporal bone, we're going to move it here. Since we do not have any ears, sorry, we can scale this even, you know, like that. By the way, RIG2U5, it's able to come back into this process even after you have already weighted and rigged your model. And it can regenerate your rig. How's that for non-destructive? So that's great. If you made some mistake and you see that your model is not moving accordingly, you can come back at any point in time, in this case, to the meta rig itself, correct it, regenerate it, and everything will be reassigned to the bones and to the weights, however you previously have set them up. I can do that, but again, I don't want this stream to be long. I'm going to address now the chest. This is important. The origin of the bone is where your chest controls are going to be created, your breast controls in this case. Also, please do not forget that since we're working with Rigify, whenever you select it, you can come here into the properties of the bone themselves. I'm going to go into pose mode because this is only possible in pose mode in the native Rigify rig types. And if I come down here with the bone selected, I can see that this is a basic super copy. And the widget, or the way that you're going to control this, is a circle. I want to set it up as a bone because I want to be able to see the bone, how far it is, and how long, or what's the length of it, so that I can manipulate it. Okay, so that's like the basic thing that you do in Rigify. However, in RIG2U5, let me go back to edit mode. In RIG2U5, we have added a very cool feature which allows you to create the Rigify type directly from the edit. So let's see, I have this breastbone. However, what I want to do right now is to shorten it just a little bit because I'm planning to add wiggle to it. Not here in Blender, but in the modular control in Unreal Engine. So what I'm going to do here is to Shift S, cursor to selected. And once my cursor is there, let me just activate it so you can see it. Once my cursor is there, I can then select the Rigify type, which in my case is going to be basic super copy. I'm just going to be making a new super copy. And then just click here, add bone. And that will automatically create a new bone, which of course is too big. But what we want to do here is to put it right there and orient it as it will wiggle. So in my case, I want to put this just a tad up because remember, when we wiggle stuff, you know, they tend to fall. So we don't want that. And so the state of this bone is there. And I'm going to be naming this as breast underscore 002. Whoops. Breast 002. Breast. Yeah, nomenclatures. Otherwise, this will fail on the other side. So this is the letter L. Breast underscore 002 underscore L. Enter. And I can right click here and then click Symmetrize. I have step 1 created a bone directly from edit and assigned it its Rigify type. That's a huge advantage. Number 2, I have symmetrized this and renamed it so that it will have the corresponding name. If you remember, I finished this with an underscore L. And when I symmetrize it, Blender understands that's the left side and it automatically assigns the subscore R. Okay, but they are not parented. If you notice, they don't have any parents. And I want to parent it to this bone back here. So I'll just select that one, shift click this one, Control P, and then just keep offset. I'll move this one because I want to make sure that this also, as you can see in the dotted line, it's also parented to the previously created breastbone. So both of them have parents, but since both of them are two new bones, we need to create a new bone collection which will be visible for Rigify. This is why I mentioned I wanted to create the course so that I can take you step by step. But thank you so much for watching up until this point. We have 50 minutes. We're about to finish. And we need to assign a new bone collection. So how do we do that? If you press M, it's going to ask you, okay, I have all of these collections ready for you. You can create any number of collections in the bone hierarchy, and those will be represented in Rigify for visibility toggles. Okay, I want you to focus on visibility toggles. This is what you get in the item tab once the rig is created. So you can activate it and then all of the bones in that collection will be visible. Or deactivate it and all of the bones on that collection will be invisible. This is important. So let's go. I'm going to select both of these both bones, and then press M, new bone collection. I'm going to be naming this as extras, just because. You can name them breast, items, whatever you want. Okay, so this is on the Rigify part. So I'm going to come here. Let me just hide this so you'll understand this process. Let me just try to make this as big as I can so you can see it. Okay, so this is the Rigify process of this. If you come to the Rigify section, you will see that you have advanced. If you unwind this, you also have color set, bone collection, UI, and samples. So let me just close that and open bone collection UI because that's mostly the one that we want. You can see that I have just created my bone collection named extras. Okay, but they need to be assigned a color set. This is standard. You need to do this. So I'm going to be activating this one, extra, which coincidentally is included in Rigify. Rigify has an extra color called extra, which is coincidentally named the same way I did with my bone collection. So don't mind that. Do not mind that. Maybe this is called, breast, items, whatever. But Rigify has IK, FK, tweak, root, and extra. So I'll pick extra. After that, it's going to ask you, okay, which row are you going to assign this visually? If you do not put anything here, but you use the name, watch what happens. Extra. I'll place that title, the UI title, and now down here, it's expecting me to add it. So I'll just click here to add extra, and it will immediately populate here with the UI row number 17. So that's the procedure. Number 1, assign a color. Number 2, assign a title. Number 3, press this little arrow, and it will automatically add it in your own number. So this is the UI that you see. These are the visibility toggles. So when you click here, click here, click here, parts of the rig are visible and invisible depending on what you have toggled. Root, of course, is going to be the origin of the entire rig. Okay, so we're almost done. We have the face, we already have the breasts, we have the fingers. Let's align the legs. Quickly, I want to mention something. In Unreal Engine, they prefer this angle. Don't ask me why, please. They prefer this angle of the leg, as if all human beings have very straight 90-degree legs. I hate it. I'm a rigger. I have rigged in Modo. I have rigged in 3D Studio Max. I have rigged in, many different softwares, even After Effects rigging. Yeah, that is possible. And they do not do this. You always need to have some kind of bending degree so that the IK understands, okay, my forward pole vector is going to be oriented where my bending degree is pointed at. However, if you have a straight leg, where is this pointing at? This can, for all that it is in math, it can be pointing this way, okay? So that's why we don't do that. That's why I hate that. But it is required in Unreal Engine. So what I suggest for you in Rigify, which also goes by that kind of, workflow, is that you kindly align as much as you can the knee. Straighten up the knee as much as you can and bring back this maybe, heel somewhere around there. Somewhere where you can actually, try to make this not bend it backward too much. Okay, so I guess that can work. Maybe there is 1 degree forward. Probably Rigify will take this in a good manner. I don't know. I'm just testing this. Added to the fact that this is Blender 4.4 and we're testing RIG2U5 with our latest implementations. So we're almost done. Thank you for your patience. We're on 56 minutes now. And let's just move this just a little bit so that it will, be good with the knee and the thigh. Yeah. So what I did there was GXX, so that will align to the view. Okay, I think this will work. GZZ, something right there. Bring the GZZ. Okay. Yeah, bending the spine is also important, because if you do it wrong, at the moment of retargeting, this is going to be so much wrong. So what I usually do is to calculate this as the middle of the chest. This is the middle of the stomach or the tummy, and this is kind of like the middle of between the breast and the chest, on the thorax area. All right, let's deal with the arms. Let's bring this somewhere over here. Trying this to be right there. Oh yeah, this is another thing that Unreal does. In Unreal, they like their clavicles to be super straight. As a matter of fact, I'll be so bold to grab this SZZ0 enter, because they like it like this. I don't know why. That's anatomically wrong. You don't do this. But again, I'm just trying to make this as fast as I can. Okay, so I guess we have it ready. Now, Mr. Schiller, what about the buttocks? I mean, I do work with correcting buttocks, and you do not have in Rigify native buttocks bones to correct this area. What am I going to do? Well, you can add them right now, as I am going to do that, or you can add them later. But I agree with you that if you have buttocks and they are going to have jiggle, they might as well be a 2-bone change just like this. Kind of a little bit pointing upward. So yeah, let's do that. Let's grab this, put it here so that you can see where we're going to start. And from there, I'm going to select the bone type, which is always basic super copy. This is like the best bone that works. Okay, this just works. That's why we do it like this. We don't need to move anything, but just in case that you forgot to add your Rigify type, we added also a assign to bone, as you can see right here. So in case I I have forgotten to add the Rigify bone type for this. I can just select it, select my Rigify type, and click Assign to Bone, and it will be assigned to that bone. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So let's go back here where my cursor is, and then I'm going to add a bone. My bone has automatically been assigned to the basic super copy, which is a default here in RIG2U5. My bone is super big, so I'm going to grab this part, bring it down. And I guess since we don't have that many objects here, it will not be complicated to, do this correctly. However, I advise you to plan where your wiggle is going to be. By the way, I want to comment that creating a wiggle in the modular control rig is possible. It is possible, it works, it's just amazing. You don't have to go overly complex into your blueprint animation settings. You can do it from the modular control rig. I hope that time serves us well and I can do this later. All right, so we're about to finish. Let me just put this over here. Yeah, if she walks, which I hope she will, you can add that modular control rig wiggle and then it will work. So let me just name this first. F2, this is going to be called Buttock 001L. Okay, so let's copy that, and now let's parent it. So the idea here, and please bear with me, the idea here is that when you flex your leg, the buttock will help you do the corrective. But not only that, it should also help you do the wiggle. So that's why you cannot put it randomly. You cannot put it up here, you cannot put it down here. You need to put it according to the corrective angle, which in my case is going to be somewhere around there. And this is going to be parented to the pelvis, because the pelvis, is going to keep this offset. Now, a very nice thing I wanted to mention here is that once you have created the rig, this is something I'm going to be showing in this session, by the way. Once you create the rig, you can also add bone constraints to the Rigify control rig. And it is amazing because you can continue your work in Rigify as you would normally do, bone constraints, limit rotations, any other bone modifier that you can think of, parent-child, relationship, look at, whatever. If you add that bone in the meta rig, as I'm doing right now, later on, when you generate the control rig, the Rigify control rig, you will be able to connect all of those constraints and they will continue to drive the game rig, or the root rig in this case, the one that you're going to be exporting into Unreal. So let me just continue and finish this so I can show you and you can see this. So I'm going to grab this and then press E to extrude. With this, I'm not going to be too rigid, pun intended. I'm just going to leave it like that, and probably a degree like that. And this, of course, will be Buttock 002L. Now I'm going to grab all of those two bones, right click, and select Symmetrize. As you can see, now both bones are created and they will be able to drive the buttock area. Let me just make sure that this is connected. Yeah, it is connected. RR, maybe just like that. And a little bit like this. Yeah, I know. I'm very picky with this. Why am I picky? Because many years ago when I first came to Blender, story time, someone asked me to do a commission for a character, and that character included buttock bones. And he explicitly said, you need to fix this. Someone else had given him a rig, but that rig was kind of broken in the buttock area. It wouldn't work. I tried my best for, I think, 4 nights, to fix that thing, but it wouldn't work. Like, it had so many weights affecting the area. I cleaned the area. I assigned the area. Well, a long story short, I ended up declining that work because after 4 days, I could still not rig those buttock controllers. From that day on, I marked my words and said, this will never happen to me again. And yeah, that's how we ended up here, being very super picky about the buttock area controls. Because if you do it right, it will come out perfectly at first try. So that's important to understand. So I guess this is good enough. Okay. Oh, whoops. I forgot about the foot. So let's come here. Yeah, I guess. Whoops. Sorry. It should be there because it is expecting like the level of this thing to be there. So just GUYY and then bring this over here. Okay. Now, another thing I want to mention is that this is going to go bad. Another thing I wanted to mention is that whenever you see those Zenless Zone Zero models, you see that they have different parts. Like they have like, belts, they have like bombs, they have like jackets. All of that, whenever you extract them from the game, come out like this in a single model. However, that's not how you should do that. That's not how you rig those kind of models. What you want to do is to select, for example, this kind of objects, press P, and then separate the selection. Why do you want to do this for? Because you don't want to assign extra weight from other bones to this thing. At the end, you only want to have one single bone assignment for this kind of items. And that's why you separate them. In my case, since you haven't seen the original model, those things were separated. These things right here and this thing right down there, they were separated because they were. Let me see if I can separate it. Separate this now. Yeah, I think I can. Let me see. Because later, when you have assigned all of the entire weights for your character, then you can assign this much easily from the existing weights, which is a huge advantage. What you always look forward to is to assign your character's weights in a way that will be easy for you. So this is that it will be easy for you to assign the created weights in the body. So that way they will not mess up with any other bone influences that they have. Like for example, check this out. This is a simple form. But this mesh will be stressed out with the zones from the knees, with the zones from the thigh, and from the zones of the calf. So yeah, we want to have all of those things separated. I guess the rest of the things are going to just work. Yeah, this for example, this is not optimal. Oh, look at that! They were already selected. No. Oh, that's why I can see that. I can see which parts. Okay, so just separate this. Control T. Because I want to show you another nifty feature that we have here in RIG2U5 that does not require you to switch modes. You can assign your weights directly from the add-on itself. Okay, guys, this is taking too long. It's been an hour now. Yeah, an hour and 10 minutes. We should be finishing now. Shift S, cursor to world origin. Whoops. What happened? Shift S, cursor to world origin. And finally, let's save this version. I don't want to break this thing. Let's make a new progressive one, 2. And finally, after creating our rig and adjusting it, since we are in edit mode, all we did was, add extra bones. Oops, sorry. I was getting ahead of myself. Let's just grab this buttocks. Let's send them to press M and then move them into extras. Do not forget. This is super important. Please, please, please. Otherwise, you will not get your bones created. This is what Rigify expects. So I'm going to switch to pose mode just to make sure. I'm going to grab this first one bone and I'm going to come here into the bone icon. And then I can see that my Rigify type is a basic super copy with a bone widget. So I'm going to see this as a bone. Let's check out the other one. The other one does not have anything. So see, this is why it's important to always double check on what you have. So in my case, it's going to be just a bone. I'm sorry, the Rigify type. So this is when it comes. This is where the add-on comes in handy, because now this bone does not have a Rigify type. However, I want to add it with a basic super copy, as you can see right here. So I select the bone and click assign to bone. So now that has been assigned, I go back to pose mode and you can see it's there. However, the widget is called circle. I don't want a circle as a widget, I want a bone. So select that. Let's do the same for the other side, except this time I'm going to do it manually. So the Rigify type is a basic super copy right there. And the widget is going to be a bone. So yeah, 1, 2, 3 clicks. Whereas with the add-on, you can directly select and assign it there. Let's double check on the chests. I'll select this one. Yeah, this is a bone. This one is a bone. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, so those things are checked. I have everything in check. So let's go to the final step, which will be generating the U5 rig. Again, please, if any errors happen, this is the Blender 4.44 release candidate, which is plugged with errors. And I'm also testing our new RIG2U5 add-on update. So if anything goes wrong, these are all experimental versions. Generate U5 rig. And it's going and sorting the collections, is generating the Rigify appropriate types, it's creating the entire hierarchy, and it's also creating the collection that is going to contain our root rig, which is the game rig, our Rigify control rig, which is basically where you're going to be animating, and it's also preserving the meta rig. Let me just show you. As you can see, this folder was created. I'm going to mark it in green so you can see it. So now we have a RIG2U5 folder. And now we have our pages, our edit page. That's how we call these buttons. We call them pages. Well, you can also open the guidelines and continue to read the instructions there. So we have the edit page, which can edit the meta rig. This is important. This is how you go back in a non-destructive way to correct or add any additional bones. Then we have the weight, where we are going to assign, basically bind our meshes into our rig. That's important. And once we have finished that, we can either click to switch to Animate from down here, or click to the Animate page up here. These two buttons do exactly the same thing. So let's concentrate on weight and why it's important that we separated these little objects as you saw before. So the first step that we're going to do is to select the body. And now you can see that we have two functions here: weight transfer and bind these objects. And also we have vertex influence tools, but this will be useful later on. So I'm going to open bind these objects, and it's asking me which kind of object. So I'm going to select the body, add selected. I'm going to select the elbows and the arms. I'm going to add selected. I'm going to add, let's see, this one right here. Add selected. I'm going to be adding the legs as they are. Add selected. And I guess we need to also add the face, but I think I'm going to do that later so you can actually appreciate this function. So I have this bind this object list, and all I need to do now is click here, bind weights. And this will go through the entire rig and through the entire objects and will assign weights automatically. They're going to Control P, automatic parenting, and it's going to create them. One thing I forgot, and maybe this is going to get distorted, are the shoulders. The shoulders should not be parented, or rather directly weighted here. But anyways, I'm going to be correcting that in just a second. So it's done. Let's switch to Animate now, and it will also change our entire workflow to this animation tab, which is a custom workspace that we've specially created so that you can animate, dedicated workspace. You can switch that function off right here. If you switch this off, you'll always work in layout. But if you have this little switch on, every time you come into Animate, you will come into a dedicated big space, workspace, where you have your action editor ready to get your actions, and you have your inlay ready to push your actions. Let's worry about that later. So yeah, you can, from here on, animate. I'm going to grab the torso, and if I RR, the torso should move. Well, look at that. It works fantastically. Let's go and grab this. It works. Yeah, it works right there, as we would expect. Now let's grab the foot. In regards of the foot, there are some legacy stuff I want to show you also to correct. Yes, this is important. See how that little knee bending thing was, something to be worried about? Yeah, we're going to correct that. Not now, but don't worry about that. We're just testing that everything got rigged. All right, so it's good. Let's switch this off and click here on weight. Now you're going to go back into the layout mode again. This is where we were working before, and let's make sure that the things that we want to make this work actually work as intended. Let's Control L this, and let me grab this. Control L this. Yeah. Control P. I don't want that. And let me just delete the weights. I'm going to be modifying this, by the way, because I want a perfect rig. And in my rig, I want to have the option to assign weights, which is another feature from the add-on. You also have that feature natively in Blender. However, I want to show you how you do it with the add-on. I'm doing many clicks, which you should not do. The ideal model should always be one single model with not too many items or extra objects. Because if you have many different extra objects, this one, for example, is a great example of why we do this separately. But I want to fix those weights later. Okay, so let's add the face. Again, we were on Animate, and now we're going to add more objects. Okay, please pay attention in this part. So this is my face, my head rather. Oh, why is it called face? This is another important thing. Unreal Engine doesn't like anything that you name head. So if your mesh name is called head, when you import it in Unreal Engine, it's going to be changed to, I don't know, something like head underscore mesh underscore something, because Unreal doesn't like anything that is called head other than the head bone. This is super important to consider. So this is why I named this mesh face. That's the name, face. And I bid you to do the same with all of your models. Do not name them head, name them face. So I'm going to select that object, and again, bind to these objects. I'm going to add a selected. Okay, so I have one in the list. That's face. And I'm going to grab the, let's see. Okay, for rigging purposes, I'm going to be separating the eyes, just the eyes. Okay, yeah, I think I'm going to separate the eyes Whoops. What's going on? Okay. And why am I doing that? Because when I assign that to the actual bones, I want to have individual controls over the way I assign the vertices. So yeah, that's that. I think these two guys also need to be apart. Now, please mind that in regards of the eyes, the center of the object, or the origin of the object, needs to be in the center. So in my case, now this is an individual object. I'm going to come here to Object, set Origin, Origin to Geometry, and it should approximately put the origin in the center. That's what we want. And the same thing goes for this eye. Set Origin, Origin to Center, or in this case, Origin to Geometry. That's better. So it's approximately on the center. Hopefully this will work. Hopefully this will work. This is not how I do it. That's why I have custom tools. But again, Origin to Geometry. I'm doing this with Blender 4.4 Vanilla so that you can do it also. And there will be no excuses that this is difficult because you're doing it with Blender Vanilla. Okay, so set Origin to Geometry. All right. That's it. So let's add the all of these things. Whoops. I don't think this is going to be working because what I usually do is to assign weights to these two things separately from the eyelashes. The eyelashes need a very careful treatment. So yeah, you know what? I'll do it so that you can see it. Otherwise, like, why explain it? This is kind of a master class after all, step-by-step thing. So yeah, here we go, finally. And yeah, I think, okay, yeah, let's add the face for now. Just bind the weights. And let's go to Animate because we want to see if the face actually is going to respond to our control. So I'm going to grab, I'm going to grab the jaw control. Let's go to solid mode so you can see it. And RX, and it's moving. That's perfect. That's great. That's what we want. You can notice that here is another object, which is the suborbicular triangle, or the Rembrandt triangle, suborbicular muscle. And yeah, those two things are also separated objects. So that's an important thing. Let's go back into weights. And now I want to add those things. However, what I want to do here is to project the weights that I already have on the face directly into these two objects. Or in this case, it's just one object. But I want to project the weights. In the past, you need to go to different areas in Blender to do it. But here in RIG2U5, we have added a single button that can help you with that. Check this out. We're going to close this one and unwind weight transfer. If you open this, you're going to copy the weight from the head, or in this case, the face. We said that this object is called face. Okay, the face. Copy the weights from the face and transfer the weights to what? To this suborbicular thing. So I'm going to add this mesh, the Rembrandt triangle. And then I'm going to click this little button that says transfer weights. And that's it. Let's go back to Animate. Let's grab this jaw control. I hate it when it glitches. You can see that it's in transparency mode, right? Why does it do that? All right, so here we go. We grab this one, and now we're going to open this, and you can see that the Rembrandt triangle works exactly with all of the weights that the head had, or the face had. See that? It's moving and deforming accordingly. If I grab this, my Rembrandt triangle should also deform. Look at that. It's like a sticker. It's great. That's a great feature that you can use. So let's do that exactly the same process. Let's do the same exact process with the eyelids and the eye fold and the eyebrows. Let's go back to weights. Let's go back to wireframe. And again, weight transfer. Don't forget, it's right there. Weight transfer. We're going to copy again the weights from the face, and we want to transfer them to the eyebrows and the eye fold. Yeah, I should have named this differently. Anyways, transfer weights. It's transferred. Let's go back to animate. And now, if I can animate, whoops, not that one. That's too harsh. It's gonna move. Remember what I mentioned before when I said we need to bind the weights to the head bone? So that's what we're going to do next. But before doing that, let's go and add one last thing. Let's see how the eyelashes work. So I'm going to grab this, and this time I'm just going to rig it. So not weight transferring, I'm going to just bind it. So I unwind the bind these objects, add to selected, and then just click bind weights. And with that, I should be able to at least move the visor. This is called the visor. Okay, Rigify control rig. This is the visor. And now the eyelashes should move. Yeah, they move. They move super good. Let's go back to weights. Let's finish the eyes, because I really wanna see how this works. This works out. So what are we going to do here? Now, even though my plugin, or rather RIG2U5 plugin, works with this model, with my model, you can also go to the operations, to the regular operations that Rigify does. Let me show you. If I select this, and then just normally add the armature modifier, the one rig where you want to use the weights from, it's called root. Since we are in weight page, you can see that the root object is active. You're going to see that if you switch to animate, the Rigify control rig is active. So saving you from clicking here and there, confusing you from assigning weights here and there, it's not an option with RIG2U5. You can directly orient your expectations to the page that you're working on. In this case, weight will always work with the root model. So let's do that. I'm going to grab my eye, and the armature modifier will target the root. So now it will obey to whatever, bones we have control. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to ask the name of this bone. This is called def-il. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to assign this. I'm going to come here, vertex group plus def-il, and I'm going to switch to edit mode. In edit mode, I'm going to grab all of that, and now you can see and now you can see that a new option has appeared, which assigns the weight. Hello, sorry. Okay, we're back. Yeah, so you have new options. Weight to 100, and then assign. And now they should be controlled. Let's go to the other eye. Again, I'm going to manually assign a armature. The armature will target the root. And then I'm going to assign the def-ir. That's a capital R, by the way. Okay. Edit mode. Select everything. Click assign because it's assigned at 100% weight. And now let's switch to the pupil. Control plus, I guess that's enough for a pupil. Object mode, pose mode, name F2, copy, object mode, edit mode, add a new group, Control V because I just copied that, and this is going to be assigned 100% influence. Since I already have the name, let's go back here. Control plus, rename this with L and assign 100%. That should be enough. Let's go back to Animate, and now if I move my visor controller for the eyes should follow. Indeed, they follow. That's awesome. Look at that. Okay. What do we do with these other things? Let's go back to weights. And let's assign them now. I think this will work right out of the box. Let's see. If I grab this, add selected, I grab this, add selected, they should be able to work out of the box and bind weights. Let's go back to Animate. And now if I grab the visor, it's going to be, it should be, no, it didn't. Yeah, I was expecting this already. No problem. Let's just clear out this vertex influence. Clear out this vertex influence. And what we are going to do is to actually assign the eye, and that's it. It's the def eye R for this one. Directly over here. Edit mode, grab everything, just assign, I don't know, let's, yeah, 0.8. 0.8, I think that will do. Or no. You know what? 100%. Like, why should we even consider any other case? I really want to do this quickly as I can, but of course, if you're rigging this, you can take the time. You can, figure out which values work for you. Whoops. This is not good. Right there. Assign. And I think I assigned to the R. Yeah. It's crazy. Right there. This is L. Assign. And let's add this one over here. That's IR. And this one, of course, will have 100%. And now let's go back into Animate. And finally, make this move. Yay. Yes, the live stream will be done video once I finish. And I also tend to mark all of my my topics on the live stream. So you can jump directly to the topic that you are interested in. So this is the topic for iRigging with RIG2U5, and as you can see, it works. Okay, let's talk about this controller right here, because we mentioned that Eyelid 002 bone was the one that controls the actual blinking. And yeah, it is kind of bad. Now, once you get to this point, you will kind of discourage yourself because you think, okay, this is too difficult, this is hard, whatever. No, it's not. It's not. It really only depends on Eyelid 002, on Eyelid 003, and almost Eyelid, or this one right here, brow. When brow is removed from these weights, then you get a much better blinking. I don't want to spend time right now, but I will record again a short YouTube video and upload it into shorts so that you can see how you can quickly fix this. But you can, I assure you, you can get perfect blinking for anime eyes. Okay, it's not difficult. You just need to plan, and like, for example, this control, this works. And this one over here, you just need to correct 2 or 3 weights. For now, I'm just, doing this faster, as fast as I can, because it is important for me to finish this stream. Again, now that I have the weights in the arms, I want to project those weights into the shoulder. So check this out. I'm going to grab this because it's a perfect rig, as you can see, perfectly bending the arm and the elbow. I think I just need just a little bit of work back here, but nothing serious. It works. It works. Look at that. Bending here and there. It just works. Now, let me show you 2 additional features about weights. And with that, I'll just, export this. Otherwise, it's going to take forever. And I want to finish this. We have already 1 hour and 35 minutes. It's important that we honor our time. Anyways, grab this. Let's unwind the weight transfer. I want to transfer the weights from the body. You can, select the color picker. I'm sorry. Select the picker and choose the body. Okay. And then select the shoulder in this case and add it to the list. And then transfer the weight. Just click on that and it will automatically project. This is important, please. This is a 4-step, 4-click, almost 5 clicks in natural vanilla Blender. But right here you have the tools directly in the add-on so that you can work without issues, without jumping here and there. So that's where we have our elbow rigged. It's not correctly rigged though. I can change some things here and there. Let me show you how. Let's go back to weights. And now I'm going to show you a new method. Now that I have populated this shoulder with the weights from the body, and then I move the arm is not really bending this shoulder accordingly. However, in Blender, you are able to go to edit mode. I'm going to be grabbing the area that I don't like. In this case, I'm going to just press 3 for the faces. I'm going to grab all of these areas like this. I'm going to press 1 to filter back to vertex selection right here. And then I'm going to copy a location, or rather a vertex, that I really think it's working for this shoulder. In this case, I believe this is the best vertex weight between the shoulder and the upper arm. So this is my last selected vertex. You can see that immediately here in Vertex Influence Tools, this button became available. Copy weights from selection. So first of all, step 1, select your area, the one that is not bending well, and then select a vertex, a single vertex that you think is receiving the proper amount of weight influence. In my case, it's this one right here. I'm going to close up so you can see it. Maybe in the stream, it's going to be compressed. Right there. This is the one that I'm interested in. So therefore, that's the last one I selected. This immediately became available. Copy weight from selection. Now my entire shoulder has copied the weight from that area. Let's see how it works. In reality, it should bend even better. Not bad. Not bad. We can still make some work there. But at least it moves kind of well. Let's go back into weights. Let's do the other side. And let's finish this. This time I'm just going to directly, add it into the bind these objects. So just add selected, bind weights, and let's get it over with because I want to send this to Unreal already. And yeah, it moves. Mr. Schiller, you forgot this little piece. No problemo. Check this out. Let's go back into weights. I'm going to grab this this thing. Oh, by the way, sometimes you will need to pose your character and see if it works, like in this case. Like this is all the way back here, but you need to pose it right there. But if you go back to weights, oh, it's been fixed. Oh yes, that's right. That's another update on this rig, on this RIG2U5 version. It has been updated so that every time you come back in here into weights, the proper representation of the rig will show you what's wrong. Or in this case, the modification that you have right there will not move to default rest position. So that's great. I'm going to go, whoops, I think I spoke too soon. Okay, let me just grab this one. Come here to the modifier, activate it, activate these two things because that's important. And now come to edit mode. So yeah, there we go. You can now see that because we activated these two things in the modifier, the armature modifier, now I can grab this. Let me go to transparency mode, grab those two things. And lastly, I'm going to grab part of the shoulder where I think the weight influence is good. I think it's this right here, right there. And then copy weight from selection and bam, just like that, it's fixed. Go back to Animate. I'm going to grab this, copy pose, right click, paste pose. Whoops, sorry. Pose mode, copy pose, paste pose. For some reason, didn't copy the pose mode. That's weird. I'll check that out. Anyway, so let's move this one, and we have the same issue. Go back to weight. I'm going to grab all of this into edit mode. Well, would you look at that? Okay, right there. And my lastly selected vertex will be this corner right here. I want you to see it. 1, 2, 3. Right there. And copy weight from selection. And it's copied. So this is why I don't like to do streams at daytime, because there are a lot of cars. RR. So yeah, that's basically it. A, Alt R, Alt S, Alt G. So we reset every position. Let's go for the feet. Let's finalize this because I really took my time. I'm sorry, guys. I just wanted to do this as fast as I can. Yeah, So I think part of the problem here is, let me just activate this so we can see it. I think part of the problem here is that we have too many weights, influences from other sides that we should not. Anything that is right, so thigh, and calf. Everything that is right should be removed from here. So let's grab all this side first. Let's go with calf, remove, calf, remove, calf, remove. Let's go with thigh R, remove, twist, remove, and remove. Okay, yeah, that is exactly what we want. And let's do the inverse. That is Ctrl-Shift-M to select the inverse. And let's remove everything that is L. So thigh L, remove, thigh twist L, remove, remove. Let's go with calf L, remove, calf twist L, remove, calf twist L, remove. Okay, that's it. Super easy. Pose mode. Let's grab this. How is our buttock doing? It's doing good. Okay, so Alt G, R, S. And let's see. I'm going to manually add the armature. Whoops, no array. Armature. And it's set to root. And from here, I want to copy, return to RIG2U5. I want to copy the weights from this vertex. Although, since it's a separate object, I should be just adding the weights from here. Let me see if I can do that. what's the list saying? It's foot L06. Yeah, I deem it that's the one that I should use. Foot L, just like that. Whoops. What was the name again? Foot underscore L, all lower caps. Yeah, the advantage of me doing this entire thing is that you will be able to, you know, jump once this is done directly into the part that you're interested in. So if that was foot L, this is going to be foot R. Foot R just like that. And assign 100%. And this has an armature modifier, which is set to root. Okay. Let's go back to RIG2U5. Animate. Yep, right there. See that? That's what I was saying before. So now I want to copy. What's this vertex influence right here? Probably this one, because I don't need this to move like deform. It doesn't need to be deformed. Which one is the most prominent one? It's called calf twist 001 and foot L on 03. These two have the most prominent influence. So let me decide. The calf is the upper. No, okay, it should be the foot L. So again, modifier, armature. It's called root. And this is a lower foot underscore L. I'll grab all of this and assign 100%. That's all. That's all I need to do. Let's just copy this because I'm trying to fast forward this. Edit mode, create another vertex group, which is the right influence. Assign it, but you need to assign the armature modifier first, targeting the root. That's all. And now my foot should move. Again, this is not perfect. I can go on and on hours here. You know how rigging is. But you get the idea. It's there. It's working. Now let's go for the knees. And finally, we can take a lunge. Go on for lunch. Okay, let me see. I don't remember exactly how I did this, but let's go to RIG2U5 and let's do this with automatic weights to see where it takes us, okay? So I'm not promising anything, but however this thing turns out, I'll send this to Unreal because actually I should be launching Unreal now. Which hopefully will be the last version. Anyways, like this, in weights, bind to these weights, yes. Bind weights, automatic weights. And let's go back to Animate. And let's expect this to work. Yeah, it worked right out of the box. Right out of the box. That's amazing. I guess I wasn't that wrong. All right, so we've come to the part where we're going to send this into Unreal Engine. Please mind that I'm not going to be working in the materials in this session. No. I'm not going to be working in the details for this section. No. I'm going to be working, this should be weight transfer. Weight transfer from the body. Which objects? This object right there and this other object right here. And transfer weights, and that should be it. Go back to Animate. And yep, it's forming as expected. Oh, we still have the tongue and the teeth. Okay, let's finish that. We're almost there, guys. Thank you for your patience. We're almost there. So we have this. Let's go back to weights. And in weights, we have teeth. And teeth are going to be assigned an arm. I'm doing this manually, guys, so that you can understand why I do this once you go back into the video and play it back in slow motion. So you can work either way. So in my case, this bone is called def teeth T, which is def teeth top. You can have a single teeth object if you want. I always create two teeth objects, but you can have just one. And I think this one is teeth B, which stands for teeth bottom assigned. And this one needs also the armature, which in our case always targets the root. That's where you want to put all your weights to. Okay, and then I'm going to select the tongue, and then I'm going to bind these objects, add into the mesh list, and bind the weights. I'm trying to do this as slow as I can. Let's go to Animate. Let's grab the tongue control, and indeed it moves. But my lips also move. That's not good. What I'm going to do here is to just grab this entire area and get rid of those weights. How do I do that? I come here, I type tongue, and whatever tongue control and vertex weights are there, I can just delete them. So remove, remove, remove. That should be it. Let's go back to the Animate, select the controllers, pose mode, grab the pose mode, and indeed it moves. There are some things that I can correct, but again, I'm not looking for perfectionism right now. I just want to get this out of the door so that you can see it, because you have been kindly patient to watch this. Thank you so much for your patience. And yeah, just like that. I'm just going to export this as it is. Let's see what happens. Let me just go edit mode. I selected the Rigify control rig. I go to edit mode. I'm going to grab this and bring this just a little bit so that I can have a smaller root control right here. So I'll move this. Whoa, 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 whoa. What's that? Why? Oops. I guess. Yeah. Okay, I think I need to Control P. Just armature deform. Will this add another armature deform? Yeah, it did. Huh. That's weird. So if I go back, yeah, I'm on Animate, pose control. If I move the head, yeah, the head moves, and the eye moves. Then why didn't it move in object mode? That's weird. That's weird. Okay, I can understand what's going on down here, though. It's not parented to this. That's weird. But I understand. I think let's see. Set parent to armature deform. This is because I did this separately, and I never did Control P, so it's not really parented. But I need to parent it. So I guess object keep transform. Is it? This never happened to me before. That's why I did it. Yeah, it's object keep transform. I'll do that. Object Control P, object keep transform, because that's a root. This is the same thing that I'm going to be doing here. Control P, just object keep transform. So Animate, if I understand well, should just move that because it's obeying the constraints from the root. Yeah, so that works. I guess if I move this, I will have the same problem. Yeah, with those guys. Yeah, I imagine. Let's go back to weight. Let's grab one of this, the second one of this, and then Control P, object keep transform. Now this is the good thing about Blender and being used to work with Rigify, that you can understand exactly where to go to fix that kind of issues. So let me see if I forget anything. Oh yeah, the eyebrows. No, the eyelash. Whoa. I totally forgot about this reflection things. Yeah, those eye reflections. So bind to these objects, add selected eye gloss. Yeah, bind weights. Okay. I don't know how that thing is going to work. I'm doing this for you guys as fast as I can. It's almost 2 hours, gosh. And I'm trying to be fast. Explaining and fixing takes a lot of concentration here. So that's why I always pre-record my things, but I really wanted to do this live so that you can all see it. Mind if I ask if the stream is archived? Yes, the stream is archived. I think I already replied to that. Oh, one more thing. This is super important. Please, please, please. This section is going to be, I think, super reviewed once it's uploaded. So you have this controller, right? And for all of your time, whenever you rotate this, oh, look at that, it's fixed. Gosh, thank you so much, Blender developers. It's fixed. Yes, thank you. Okay, never mind. I was going to say some things about how to fix a problem that usually happens in that area, but it's been fixed now. So I'm super glad. I don't know if that was a report I did or someone else did, but I'm glad it's fixed. Okay, we're spotting some problems, and the problem is right there with this specific weight. Oh, it's because we have weight transfer. Why is this for? Get out. So this other one? No, this one. Yeah. Okay, hip sway. Yeah. Still bad. Okay, let me clear this. This is kind of weird. Why didn't it work? Let me just project the weights again. That's weird. Weight transfer. Copy from the body. And transfer it to this one right there. No. Transfer to this object right here. And transfer weights. Maybe there is a double parenting or something. Oh, it now works. Never mind. All right. Let's go to object mode. Please work this time. Yep. Oh, we still have to do the teeth and the other eye. This is so funny. Control P. Keep transform. Please mind this is not the usual workflow. I'm just fixing my own problems because I'm not following the tutorial. You have a playlist for RIG2U5 which are only videos, short videos of 2 or 3, even 5 minutes long. They are not that long, so that's another reason why you may want to choose to see the playlist in the channel. It's called RIG2U5 playlist. And you can check it out. You can check out all of the features in less than 5 minutes. I'm just fixing my errors because this is something new that I'm doing with a previously created model. And I want to make sure that everything works just fine before sending, because of course, if it works well in Blender, it will work exactly like that in Unreal. At least that's the expectation. Let's start a project. Where should I start? Let's open the Bionic Gunslinger. I don't want to. Yeah, because I want to show you something. So I'm going to be importing this in the Bionic Gunslinger model project in Unreal Engine 5. So it's right there. Okay, so it's post. Yeah. Let's transfer this one as well. That's what I forgot. Let's go back to weight. And this is a particular case where you want to, weight transfer from the head or face, weight transfer to the selected object, which is the forehead shadow. Transfer weight. That's it. Of course, I will come back here later on and fix all of the weights for the head and the eyebrows, and then reproject back into this shadow thing. I think hair was also considered. No, this one does not have. I want to show you another nifty trick. I learned this I think around 2 months ago. It's really helpful. Armature, I'm going to just assign to the hair mesh the armature. Again, I mentioned that you always should weight everything to root. And it's already there. It's got the head bone already assigned. I think all of these, yeah. Except this one. This one, spine 06. Why would, what? No, head. Okay. So head. What? No. This is also head. Just head, you know. Head. Okay. So this is the trick. If you select this object, which has the armature, okay, you have the option to like copy to select it. So grab all of these guys. And lastly, grab this one right here. I think it's with control and copy to select it right there. Bam. And then all of this will have the roots. The armature modifier assigned. I think that's a super old trick in Blender. I did not know about this until January 2025. I guess you always have something new to learn. Hey, what's up? What's going on? What happened? Why did it break? Oh, okay. It's back. Yeah, I told you. Blender 4.4. Something's wrong. Okay, so I guess it's parented. I guess. let's try again. Yeah. Totally. Maybe, just maybe, we can do this all at once. Batch. One single batch. I will not be optimistic about it, but it looks like I could. Control P. Object keeps transforms. Object mode and move this, and yeah, all at once. That's great. Let's get its 3D cursor out of the way. In summary, we've created a Rigify rig face with the old Rigify face because that face accepts transformations for rotations and scale. That's good. Second of all, we assign and transfer weights using the RIG2U5 tools in order for us to make sure that everything is set up the way we want. And now that the model has been correctly rigged, we're going to export. And you can be either on pose mode or in any pose you want. And in the Animate tab or in the Animate page, you have this FBX-to-U5 button. Let's click it, and I'm going to target with RIG2U5 new U55 FBX. And I'm going to be calling this exactly like that because it supports long names. That's another thing I want to test. You can see that RIG2U5 says the rest pose found. That means that you do not have any NLA tracks to bake to animation, because please do not forget, Blender 4.4 now has multiple NLA tracks per object. So now you have an option that actually allows you to select objects with their own animations. I'm not going to go into that because that's Blender 4.4 new feature and it is still being implemented. That's why this is a release candy, so I don't want to mess with that. Just click FBX to U5. It's been sent. This is our project. Look how cool she looks. The bionic cowgirl. By the way, this project was available for Patreon and is still available for Patreon, so you can download it and open it and experiment and look at the shaders that we have with the bionic cowgirl. Let's create a new folder. I'm going to be calling this Synthia Wave, and I'm going to assign, I don't know, a nifty color. I forgot how to do that. There was a way. I think it was show call. Anyways, so I'll double click and then import the FBX. I'm going to target it right there. And since this is RIG2U5, you do not need to change anything at all when you import your FVX into Unreal Engine. You just let Unreal Engine ingest your file as it is. This is why we're so excited. We're so happy to share this with you. The new update, it's fully compatible with Unreal Engine 5.5.3. This version, that one that you're seeing right now, is 5.5.4. So this is the first time I'm doing this in front of you. As you can see, we have all of the tabs, common skeletal meshes and animations, etc. We don't need to change anything here. I'm just, rolling this close, just like this. The usual dialog opens like this, and just click import. You don't have to click anything else or fix anything else. Of course, there are a plethora of options that you can change, but we will talk about that later, or maybe in some other stream. I'd really like to do live streams with you guys because you can ask in real time. For example, Richard Duska asks, "Hello, do you have any suggestions for creating concepts? Since I tend to struggle with that part." Yes, that's an important observation. Thank you, Richard. Your object or your character will not look anime if you don't have an anime reference. Please try to draw in a paper, in 2D, Photoshop, in a sheet of paper, in a whatever. Try to physically draw until you're satisfied with the look of the face of your character, because that's where most of the looks are going to be anyways. So if you design something that looks 2D, then you can grab that concept and bring it into 3D exactly as it is. I tend to redraw the things with grease pencil. You can check out, Richard, my channel. Check out the process where it says time lapses, and then you will find the Koji Kabuto where I, draw with grease pencil, and the cat girl as well. There's a cat girl that I started to draw with grease pencil, and then I go meshing the grease pencil object with another mesh, kind of like retopologizing, sorry, but using meshes on top of the grease pencil. Okay, pink line. You can see down here, there's a pink line. This is a yellow line. This is a cyan line. Okay, and we're going to double click on the pink line asset. Here is our RIG2U5 character. Right there, it's Synthia Wave. Now, we have not created any of the recreated any of her materials. That's why she looks like this, all blank and pale. Don't worry. You can see that our bionic cowgirl does have materials. I can open that. You can see that they look really good. Actually, in game, they look even better. Right now, in this, simple scene, it's not much. It's not too impressive, but when it is in the game, it looks really good. It looks shiny. It looks with post processes and stuff. I got a lot of things to tell you about post processing. The entire list of the materials for the character. That's a super cool feature that Unreal Engine 5 has. You can also post process the camera, and you can also post process a volume. You can also post process the entire scene. But those are things I'm not going to be covering in this moment. At this time, we're going to focus just on the exporting part, RIG2U5 exporting part. By the way, this character was also exported with RIG2U5. And you can see I exported her already post here. She's like gunslinging, doing her stuff. We have a lot to talk about outlines. We have a lot to talk about the light direction. I wish I could have the time to do this, but again, I repeat, I am looking for a new office space, so I might not probably be able to do many live streams. Probably after July, I'll pick up my line again, but I'm looking for a new workspace. Okay, so where is it? Where's our folder? Synthia Wave. Here we go. So there she is. Double click. And as you can see, we've imported. Everything looks fine. And there she is. Now let's talk about animation, because I'm just going to quickly do this so that you can understand how it works. We've exported a model that does not have animation. Now we're going to export a model that does have animation. So how does that work? First of all, you're going to come here into the animation tab with the Animate page. I call this page. The button is called page. I suck at drawing, but I might be able to pull off a basic face. You can also copy, trace over some character, some anime character that you really like, or generate it with AI in some of the free sites that are out there. Describe your character, generate it, and try to do it by hand or copying it over, whatever. Okay, so we're back in animations. We want to animate. So I'm going to just do this for an idle positions. But first of all, let's just grab all of these controllers. Let's go to pose mode. Let's create a new action and let's call this U5 underscore rest pose. Rest pose. This is super important. The first step that you want to do is to make sure that you have a rest pose to export. Otherwise, Unreal Engine 5 will not recognize this. We are in the we are in the dope sheet action editor. We created a new action and we're ready to animate. After we animate, we are going to send that into the NLA. What is commonly mentioned, we are going to push that animation. So let's go. I'm going to just grab everything. I'm going to press the letter K in Blender 4.4, Blender 4.4 vanilla. If you press K, you will be able to keyframe everything, but I've changed it. So I like to maintain my letter I to specifically insert keyframes. If you want to know how to change these key binds, you can enter into our Discord and make sure to ask for this kind of things, because I have a full thread on how to change keys. Anyways, insert keyframes. We're going to insert location and rotation and scale right there. So all of that inserted. You can see that a keyframe was drawn over here. I'm going to select that keyframe, Shift D, and duplicate it onto keyframe number 2. By the way, you need to probably activate this one right there so that you can actually stamp it on the keyframe. That's good. And this is where Blender 4.4 comes with new features. You can see now that we have the U5 rest pose. However, we're targeting the Rigify control rig object. So this is what is going to be confusing for you, and not in Blender 4.3, because this thing was just added into Blender 4.4. I do not agree with this kind of workflow. However, the developers think this is the best case, whatever. But now you can select in which objects you're going to have that animation being recorded to. In other words, you can select the object where you want to have that action applied to. For now, let's just not get entangled with that. Let's just go ahead and just duplicate that animation that we have with just 0 keyframes and 0 animation, because we want to capture the still pose in frame 1, duplicate it, and also have it on frame number 2. Why is this important? Because when we export this into Unreal Engine is going to understand, okay, I have this pose, which I'm going to interpret as the rest pose. And from here on, I'm going to retarget every bone as I need it to in order for me to manipulate this entire rig. This hierarchy that I have, it's going to be obeying this pose first. And I want to show you how to do that. So once we have those 2 keyframes duplicated in the rest pose, we're just going to push it into the NLA. And for that, we used to have a button here in the action editor that says push to NLA, but I don't see it anymore. Yay, array. There used to have a button here that says push to NLA. Let's do it by the menus. Actions, push down action. Gosh, why the extra click? Why? Anyways, push down action. Okay, you come here into action, push down to action. And now that pose has been pushed into the NLA as an NLA clip. This is how it's called, NLA clip. By the way, your vanilla Blender 4.4 does not have these colors. If you want to have these colors, you need to go to the Blender extensions site and look for Blender V. With the letter V, like victory. Blender V. that's my theme, and this is how you're going to get the nice colors that you see right here. Look for Blender V in the Blender Extensions website. I'm going to leave the link in the description. Anyways, now that it's in the NLA and it's named U5 underscore rest pose, we can finally proceed to do our animations. Let's create a new action, okay? We're in the action editor. As you can see, it's clean. We're going to click here, and now we're going to create a new action, which is going to be called idle, just like that, idle. I usually tend to enumerate my idle, loops. For example, if this one is from 1 to 20, I usually tend to do 1 to 20. So that way I could always read how much or what's the length of this animation. Like 20 frames, it's perfect. Well, let's just go, and this is the important part in RIG2U5. You can now switch to the Rigify control rigs, and now you have available all of these parameters. You can switch the toggles on and off, you can switch the poles on and off, you can switch the stretches on and off, you can switch the follows on and off, and everything will be translated into the RIG2U5 rig. So that's the amazing thing, because you can control this as FK or IK. You can have stretching bones. You can have whatever you are accustomed to use whenever you're animating with Rigify. This is why I mentioned we wanted an easy solution for people who are accustomed to use Rigify. And therefore, RIG2U5 is an extension. It's extending the features that Rigify has. So I have my model right there. And this is one of the first things I want to show you, because you need to see it. Right now, my arm is set to IK, right? But I want to move it with the entire upper torso. And in order for me to do that, I need to switch here to FK. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click this magnet from the FK to IK. So this will automatically stamp the arm right there. I'm going to select the other one, and I'll do the same. FK to IK. And now I can select the same control, which is this hand control, and switch it from IK, which is 0, to FK, which is 1. And as you can see, if I now move it, this hand will always follow the torso. That's what we want. Let's do the same for the other hand. I'll select the hand control, switch to the IK, FK, and now both arms will always follow the torso. And why do I want to do this? Because I want to make a simple animation. I'm going to press I, and then I'm going to press T for location and rotation. Okay, so frame 1, it's a whoops, what happened? Oh, this is super important. It has happened to me so many times. I always forget. Select this again. You can see that this is an IKFK, but it is not keyframed. So we have a problem. Now we need to go back to IK. Repose your arm. See, this is good. This is why I love doing live sessions, because these things appear and you can see how to solve them. Just copy pose and paste pose, flipped. And yeah, now the IKFK, which is this arm, will come in selected, and I will do 1 and then press I to keyframe it. I forgot to keyframe it on frame 1. And yeah, let's do this. You can see that this is still on FK, so I'm going to select these right here, bring it down so that it can copy it, and then FK to IK so that it will reposition itself. Bring it back to 1, and then press I to insert the keyframe. And now, if you move it, it should, whoa, it moved again. That's weird. That's weird. So FKIK right there. I guess I need to put, yeah, I location and rotate. Well, not actually location and rotation. This is just rotation. So this is just R. Okay, so, and this was one less I check. So copy pose, paste, flip pose, grab this one, bring it down, FK and IR, and I guess that's it. Let's save. Yeah. I was mistakenly placing keyframes on the IK controllers instead of placing keyframes on the FK controllers. So yeah, mind that. It's not just switching the switch. Of course, you need to activate that animation. You animate that, but you also need to explicitly put keyframes on the FK controllers. Oh boy, 2 hours, 20 minutes. I hope this is so well worth it because there will be no live streams in the time remaining. Oh, let's do this just with location and rotation now. Frame 1. Let's let's just do a simple idle thing. It's not too complex. IT, and let's come to 20. I'm going to Shift D, duplicate this. And you know what? Let's do 200. Why not? We want to have a lot of space. 200. Yeah, I usually have like super direct controls here, playback controls here. I need to tell you all about that. I'll surely put it in the link descriptions, in the video description. Sorry, the links in the link descriptions. Okay, yeah, too fast. Yes, still too fast. And mind that in Unreal Engine, things move at 30 frames per second, so this is even faster on Unreal Engine. I need to see the playback. Again, I'm doing this all improvised, Blender vanilla. When I work, I don't have my workspace like this. I have everything ready. So I surely appreciate your patience, guys. Thank you so much. IT 200, IT around 60. Let's just, like, I don't know, bend her somewhat like that or like that. IT, and then I don't know, do something else, like something weird, like what, like that. And just IT. And this arm probably will need to hang just a little bit, so I'm going to select it and just press IR. Yeah, IR. And just duplicate the first keyframe right there. Put it right here. So the arm can hang. So yeah, it's a dumb idle animation, but I think you guys get the idea. So now that this has been animated, and you can see that I have my idle 1 to 200 frame here, I can just come again into action. And please mind, oh yeah, this is something I really need to address. Joint down. Please take a look at this. You're only animating in the Rigify control rig. Right now you can see teeth low because it's, again, I'm rushing through this, but ideally you would only have one single animation channel here, which is the Rigify control rig. And this is super important because if you need to redo your animations, you only worry about the Animate tracks that already exist. Or in case that you need to create a new one, you only need to worry about that one single track that exists. If you were doing this in vanilla Blender or traditional Blender, you would have duplicates. Why? You would have a duplicate of the idle, the current animation, and you will have a duplicate of the idle, the baked animation. Just imagine how a spaghetti convolution that would be. Like whenever your art director comes back to you and says, you know what, that animation, it's running too fast. Can you make it slow? Yeah, sure, you adjust it on your Rigify control rig, but you forgot that you also needed to adjust it on your baked rig. So what do you need to do? You need to delete it. But now you encounter the problem that actions do not really disappear once you click on the X on the action editor. You have the problem that you have duplicate baked actions, which is another troublesome issue in vanilla Blender. This is why we created RIG2U5, to make things easier for you. So this way, you only need to worry about the actual living animation and let RIG2U5 worry about the baking at the time of export. So you only need to worry about that one animation that you're interested in. You save your file, you pass your file to another animator, and he doesn't have to be dabbling between baking, duplicating keyframes, baked, duplication, keyframes, hidden actions, or anything else around there. No, it's just too messy. We made this with a conscience, with a professional conscience, so that you can pass your work to other animators to work in your game animations. All right, I'm super glad to mention all of this because we're coming to the end of the stream. Let's push this into the NLA. Push action, push down action. And now I have an idle action up here that says idle 1 to 200. Since the first NLA action that we created was the U5 rest pose, we are good to go. However, if you forgot to do this rest pose action, you should never have this in the upper track. Your U5 rest pose always needs to be the last NLA track. If it's on top, it's not going to be read and everything will be messed up when you import in Unreal Engine. This is the correct order, that you have the U5 rest pose at the bottom of all NLA tracks. And all of your animation NLA tracks, at least for Unreal Engine, I think it works differently for Unity, but I don't know. I'm not working with Unity at the moment, although RIG2U5 is compatible with Unreal Engine and Unity. So if you have any questions about that, please go to our Discord. The link is in the description. Join and ask all of your questions there. I'll be super happy to answer them there. Okay, so we have idle 1 to 200. Now, if you want to solo your NLA track, click on this star, and now you can push play. And when you click on play, your solo action will play. If I had a walking action, a running action, and you want to see them all alone, I suggest to you that you click this little star. As another thing I want you to consider is that when you are working with RIG2U5 and you have a solo track with this star, and then you click FBX-to-U5 export, only this track is going to be exported. Please mind that if you solo track with the star and export FBX-to-U5, only that track is going to be exported. This is native Blender workflow. You should always have all of your NLA tracks active, okay? Without that star active. Don't solo. This is called solo track. Solo track. Solo track. Don't solo. Send all of your tracks. Once you click here, FBX-to-U5, all of your animation tracks will be sent. And mind this U5 rest pose track, which has two identical keyframes in the rest pose. Frame 1 and frame 2 are identical, with keyframes in scale, keyframes in rotation, and keyframes in translation for all of the bones, including the facial bones. This is important because once you export this, if those bones do not have rotation, translation, and scale in their original positions, you're going to get wrecked. Your animations are going to get wrecked in Unreal Engine. But we have this already in place and working, and we have idle 1 to 200 already in place and working. So this is the animation, 200 frames, and let's just click FBX-to-U5. I'm going to be calling Synthia Wave just idle, because that's the only thing that we're going to send. And mind, if you go back into the stream, you're going to notice that when we exported the rest pose, RIG2U5 only said you have a rest pose. But now that we have two NLA tracks, RIG2U5 detects them, and then it tells you, I have detected the following NLA tracks, the U5 rest pose and idle 1 to 200. Now, when we click FBX-to-U5, it's going to export. And once it exports, it's going to let you know in the status down here how many actions were exported. So pay attention on that. FBX to U5, and down here in the status bar, it's going to appear, okay, my baking process is done. I've exported 2 successful Animate tracks. So right now I think it's baking. Yeah, it's baking. Yes, this is the trade-off actually. You can animate fast. You can, position your stuff super fast, create your stuff, your weights, everything super fast in Blender. However, when it comes to export animations, because of Blender's native workflow, and this has been addressed by Dr. Seaburn, one of the Blender developers, he mentioned that he might be able to switch the code to C++, probably not in this one or the next version, but he's definitely considering switching to C++ for baking. That means that we're going to bake animations even faster. If you think this is fast, wait until, that change is done. I'm not offering anything. I'm just, letting you know that he is considering doing this. I'm not actually saying he's going to do it. He's considering doing it because we've submitted a bug report about baking in Blender 4.4 just in time for this release candidate. This is super important. We are contributing for Blender for bug reporting to the developers and also to Unreal Engine 5 for bug reporting to the developers as well. We're working actively, okay? Because I want you to know that you're backed up by RIG2U5. We just not created this as an additional add-on that you would not, it would be unattended. No way. We wanted you to have the assurance that we're looking after what causes the errors when working with RIG2U5 in either Blender or Unreal Engine. Okay, let's import now our Synthia Wave idle. You can see it's 10 megs. Okay, so I'll just click open and I'm going to see 2 things. Number 1, the pink asset, that's the actual asset in the rest pose, and the green asset, which contains the actual animation. So I'm going to double click the green asset once we load it here in Unreal Engine. And with that, we will finish this live stream. 2 hours and 30 minutes has been long, I know. Thank you so much. I appreciate your patience. Thank you for asking questions. I'm super happy to answer the rest of the questions in the Discord channel. I'll leave the link in the video description, so please check it out, as well as other links to get RIG2U5 add-on. Right now, it's still in a super low price. And we also have coupons. I'll let you know about that in the next, probably next live stream or in some other occasion. So here we have it, Synthia Wave idle. You can see, double click that. It's still our, rest pose. That's great. And now let's go for the green one. I'm sorry. Let's go for the green one, which is the animation idle. And there you can see it's exactly the same. If you're not convinced, let me just. Okay, how do I do this? Will it work? Will it work if I minimize this? No, I don't think it will work like that. Yeah. I'm just experimenting now. Let's solo idle. Let's join this. Or let's go to layout. Hide this. Hide this. Let's bring this right there. Play both. Yeah. I guess you can kind of see the same thing. Okay, thank you so much. You can see that RIG2U5 exports animation. This animation is not an advanced animation with facial features. I will be doing a very short video, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, with a very advanced animation because the scaling, controllers, facial controllers, tongue, teeth, eyes, blinking, everything you can animate in Blender and send it into Unreal Engine for your animation montages and all of that. So this has been Pierre Schiller. Thank you so much. This has been the update for Blender 4.4 release candidate, RIG2U5 latest as of March 13, 2025 upgrade, and also Unreal Engine 5.5.4 hotfix, which just came out this morning, just to show you how cool Blender works in integration with Unreal Engine using RIG2U5. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to join our Discord. The link is in the video description below. And thank you so much for watching this. Okay, let's go with the questions. Hot sauce. Those are all great reference to learn concept art. Okay, I guess there was some other kind of chat going on in the thread. So thank you very much. If you have any further questions, please do not forget to type your comment in the comment section here in YouTube so I can also reply, and you may share this for anyone who's starting in Blender who already knows how to use RIG2U5. And in the next video, I'll try to recreate the entire shaders for Synthia Wave so that you can also see them in that next video, as well as the new implementations with RIG2U5. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the next video.